there is a chance that this video is going to piss a lot of feminists off. And I am a feminist, so FYI, play for the team. But there is a version of feminism that I think has backfired so hard, specifically with millennial mothers in the workforce. And I want to explain a little bit why and see if you can hang on with me through the video and then give me your feedback in the comment section. First of all, I was not raised a feminist. I was raised in a very traditional, religious, high control environment, where women were pretty much groomed to be mothers, groomed to be subservient in a lot of ways to the masculine in their life. And so when I kind of broke out of religion and I started to, as a leader, like I was a little girl who was at pretty much coming out of the womb here, a very strong leader, very strong decision maker. I joke that I have the strength to make decisions confidently on 40% of the information, which freaks a lot of people out in the business world. But it has been a hallmark of my leadership, and my team always knows Payne's gonna know how to move us forward. And even if she zigzags her way, she will get us there faster. And I love that about me. But when I was a child, it was very confusing for me how to understand, how can I be this strong leader and be part of this religious group. I eventually moved away from the religious group and then found a real sense of camaraderie and belonging with high power, badass women, specifically in business. And I loved phrases like badass, powerhouse, ball buster. I was very strong and I would hold my own with men twice my age. And I felt so empowered in that. And I felt so confident in that. And behind the scenes, what was going on for me was feeling like high anxiety, constantly holding on super tight, white knuckling my life, feeling like I had to always be the one in the control seat, feeling like I couldn't trust other people. I had to be the badass. I had to be on. I had to be the hardest worker, first one in, last one out. I had to not say no and protect my sanity because I had so bought into, and the culture had been feeding me along all of these, times, things like, you have to sacrifice now to have the payoff later, or the hustle culture. I was so entrenched in that. And then also coming from a traditional background, I was still looking at the role modeling for my family where the wife did everything in the household. And even if I wouldn't consciously choose that for myself, what I was doing in my life was living that exact recipe. Being the one who predominantly cooked, managed all the finances, made the shopping list, like managed our entire social account. Like if someone were to ask my husband a couple years ago, are you free this night? He'd be like, just ask my wife. She knows. She literally does it all. Then I started having children, and then I started feeling depressed and heavy and irritable and angry and lashing out and blaming other people and feeling such overwhelm and such intensity in my life that I had suicidal thoughts at a significant time in my life, like where I actually was driving by the road and I felt like, wouldn't it be liberating to drive off the road right now and just fly? And I had this sense of like, my God, how shitty is my life that that's what I'm thinking. And so as I've stepped back, I ended up face planning from chronic stress, wrote a whole best-selling book on it called Take Two, where I talk about how I rehabbed my life by stepping away from the chaos and the craziness and the overproduction and the stress of trying to be everything for everybody, as I was definitely nurtured to be, but then also trying to be a business badass on top of the traditional mentoring and role modeling that I had. And all of that connects to so much of what I talk here on TikTok is people pleaser, the feminine people pleaser, the good girl syndrome, trying to be the prototype female in business to break ceilings for others, and then in my home to I don't know, like make my mom think I'm still doing a really good job. Like it's amazing to me sometimes how even as adults, like behind our mind, we're like not wanting to be judged by people that nurtured us and were influential to us as children. And it led me to such a place of depletion. I literally felt like I don't really know how to be a female, a feminine energy in the world. When traditional wasn't working for me, when business badass is not working for me, I am face planning from chronic stress, I am this close to an autoimmune disease, like I am not doing well as a human. And I have some polarizing thoughts about this. which is that we still have a lot of work to do around what are the unique gifts of the feminine. And I'm not talking so much about gender, I'm talking about the feminine energy. All of us having polarity within us. Some of us having more masculine energies of push, drive, get it done, create safety and containers and systems to get things done, and a more feminine energy of nurturing and creativity and intuition and magic and impulse and spontaneity and reading people really, really well. And for me, it was just this, there's been this alchemy going on, and it's such a thing I'm passionate about with the people that I coach, is how do we be the modern woman? And how do we reverse engineer the harmful conditioning that has strategically tried to hold women down and be subservient and be conditioned to be small and afraid of success? How do we get them in high competition with one another so that they're clawing for this one seat at the table? And then how do we also step into the business world and command respect while not pushing our bodies to the brink of breakdown? How do we balance our roles at home to where we're not in such extreme output that we don't even know who we are anymore, and we are shreds of ourselves and we are exhausted? And if that's something that speaks to you and you're going like, tell me what you found, I think that we are on a cusp of the rise of the feminine energy, where there are pieces of us that is just absolute magic that the world has tried to has tried to squish down and hide and penalize us for, that we have not even awakened the magic that can be within each and every one of us. And when we figure out how to do that, and when we stand up for the parts of us that is highly creative, highly magical, highly intuitive in business spaces and in home spaces, we will see the masculine energy start to understand why the feminine has always been the muse, why the feminine has always been where wisdom lies, where the feminine has always been where the highest creative potential comes from, and the most incredible ways of connecting to humanity, and in a benevolence and in a way that cares for the collective, not just the individual success. And when we can do that, we will see a massive shift in humanity. We will see women no longer trying to take over the masculine energy in our homes and be control freaks, and we will not see women hiding our feminine magic in boardrooms when we have the ability to change trajectories and massively create success quicker and more intuitively than historically has been done. Something I am the most passionate about is helping women step into their full power. This doesn't mean you can't have masculine energy. This doesn't even mean you have to be a female. It just means that if you are designed at a soul level to have a lot of feminine flow and energy and creativity and spontaneity and flow in your life, you don't have to fake that, shape that, and hide that in the spaces that does not yet understand how powerful it is. And we need an entire generation of women to rise up and to start filling those spaces and homes and in corporate environments, so that women aren't laughed out of rooms for having hunches on things that could change trajectories in business. That women don't have to emasculate their husbands to feel like they're being respected at home, and they're breaking generational cycles of subservient women who just lived for their man to be successful. And there's a lot of work to do around this, but it's something I'm highly passionate about. So if you're finding yourself in resonance to this message, go ahead and follow, because I am about to drop so much around how to step into feminine power and be integrated and aligned as our whole self, and how to do that with grace and with power in spaces where we've shrunk and where we have tried to become more masculine to be respected, and it's actually doing us a grave disservice.